There are several ideologies around veganism. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but still, there is a direction that says that the food isn't healthy. And because their injection, I think that these vegetables are also unhealthy and maybe even worse than the flesh, because the flesh, when it's inside the animal, it still undergoes less changes than a vegetable that grows inside the ground with everything that's put into it, all the chemicals. Yeah, so that's a part of them. But I'm talking about the ideology that's based on not wanting to cause animals suffering and harm. That's what's special about this wave of ideology. It's not from the aspect of health, but it's from the point of view that we don't want to cause animals suffering. Here I have nothing to say because these people don't understand the purpose of creation and how each and every species works and exists in favor of bigger species. That the still is there in order to grow the vegetative is there in order to grow the animate in order to grow man, and man is in order to grow godliness. And each one of them has to support the higher level. And just as the purpose of the still is to support the vegetative so the vegetative will use it, the purpose of the animate is for man to use it, only how to use it. So we were given rules of how to do it. How to grow, and how to slaughter, and how to take care, and how to prepare, and how to eat, says it all. If we'll do it correctly, we, by this, sanctify the vegetative and the animate to the human level, and the human level to a higher level, because he is living in order to grow as an Adam, as a human. Adam in Hebrew meaning being like the higher level. This is how I understand these things, and I understand it from the wisdom of Kabbalah as a result of seeing the system. I'm not against vegans. My wife, she doesn't eat meat, only sometimes, but it's because she has B-type blood, and these people aren't drawn to meat. It happens naturally. Yeah, naturally. And if we're someplace, then I take chicken and rice, and she takes salad and some tahini or something. Even though that I don't see that it makes her thinner or something, meaning it really has nothing to do with one another. Meaning, the problem is that when I hear the vegans, they're fighting. I never saw a calm vegan. Those that eat meat, they're supposed to be, like meat and wine and no. They're as if more satiated, and the vegans, maybe they're not satiated enough, they're aggravated, and they're aggressive. I don't know why. Everyone should eat what they want. I don't understand why do you have to be so aggressive. And besides, I'll tell you furthermore, we don't understand how much we're inside a closed system inside nature, and if we change our habits to some extent, by that we change the laws of nature even on the still, vegetative, and animate levels. Suppose now a large percent decide that they become vegans. Okay, vegans, suppose. And the fact that we're changing our attitude towards the still vegetative and animate, by that, we put into the general system where all of us are close together integrally. We put in there a different attitude than it was given by nature, which is actually opposite than what was given by nature. Yes. So if I understand what you're saying, that you're saying that Each level in nature nourishes and develops the level above it. The still develops the vegetative, the animate, and we're built so that specifically this way we also have to use all the forms of food. Salt and water, which is from the still level, and all the vegetables, which is from the vegetative level, and which we should and which shouldn't we, and also the meat, which should we and which shouldn't we, and in what way to prepare it all. We're talking here about the laws of nature. It's not about how I eat, but by this I scrutinize things. I scrutinize how do I relate to nature in general? That this is allowed and this is forbidden, if this is allowed in some way and this is forbidden, what way is it forbidden? Maybe to use it for leather tanning or something else and not for food and so on. Meaning it's all built in a way that a person will use all these things correctly. And if not, then he creates a distortion in his attitude towards nature. He breaches the balance, yes, and by that he creates a distortion in the laws of nature, of physics and chemistry and other things. We say suddenly, why did that volcano explode? Why is there a tsunami? Why is there plus 40 or 50 degrees Celsius in London? We don't understand where it comes from. We create this balance by that. In the Torah, it says how to correctly relate to nature in general. It's not a religious or non-religious attitude. It's how a person balances himself with the entire universe. And if not, we cause bad things. I'll give you a completely different example. Maybe more tangible, maybe more valid. Recently, a new law was passed in the US which allows same-sex marriages. Same-sex. Yeah, same-sex. When it wasn't a law, when it wasn't so decisive, it was fine. The truth is that I have many students all over the world, and among them there are students which I know, which have these inclinations from nature, and God forbid, I don't have anything against them, and I'm sure that they feel that I know it, and I treat them with the same respect, and I treat everyone completely equally. But the fact that we make it as a law, by this we distort the laws of nature that we were given. That's very interesting. It's like with the veganism, that if there is a kind of an inclination from nature, then it's an inclination. But I see the vegans, they're so resolute about it, like with the sex. So if today you can get married by law, you can have a single-sex marriage. Tomorrow, I can marry my cat. I have a cat. She's beautiful. I love her. I want to marry her. Who can tell me not to? Can it harm the... I don't know. I'm asking. And the next day, some mother will want to marry her child. Why not? It's something that can become acceptable these days. And then it's going to be normal, natural. And we don't understand how by doing that we're going against the basic, original nature. And by that we influence the general regularity of nature. Because even by thought, and all the more in action, I am inside this integral mechanism, and by that I influence everything, not only earthquakes and things, but human fate. So we have to relate to this a bit more cautiously and not to go against it aggressively. And I'm not talking from a religious perspective. Yeah, it's not ethics or something, I understand. Because my profession is anthology. It's how does the general mechanism of reality, where our universe is a part of it as a subsystem, where everything is a very closed, encompassed, well organized, and precise system. And we are a very sensitive part there. And we can influence this system in a way that if it goes out of balance, then we have a very big problem, an existential problem. And therefore, when I look at all these things where you're saying it's so beautiful and everything and everyone's moving to it, no problem. But I'm against the aggressiveness, against the stubbornness that everyone has to prove that he's right. Because this always comes as a result of someone wanting to benefit. And this is how it is. That person builds his benefit on the great loss of humanity. And that's why I'm against it. Meaning, I have nothing against vegans. All the best to you. Just as I don't have anything against any other people who have any different way of living. Just don't be so relentless proving to others that only you're right. This is what I want to say. And then we'll be balanced. Of course, we'll change. And these changes, they come to us from nature, where we're constantly changing and advancing towards a certain form that let's hope that it will bring us to the understanding and recognition of how we really have to be integrated in the system in a good and nice integral part of it that determines its entire balance and harmony, but not by being aggressive.